Let's welcome the key collaborator of these two ladies on this movie, the great director, Craig Gillespie. Oh, is he gonna come in? I think that he's
Hey, Craig.
This is my space?
Yeah.
I guess I've got to talk now, right? It's amazing to be here. I didn't expect such a huge crowd, and this has been so fun to get all of their history here. There's certainly some things I didn't know about that was lovely to hear. I have the honor of actually presenting some awards tonight. I don't know if there's an order, but I'm going to start out with Allison. I don't know what Stephen Rogers was thinking when he thought of Allison for this role, because for some reason he thought she was perfect for it. And it's really not the traits that I know about Allison. She's this most caring, loving person. It's like we'd be on the set, and she's so giving to everybody when she's there. It's like it always cracked me up with the dialogue that she had to say. And she'd always come over and be like, "Do I have to say the C word today?" And I'm like, "Yes, you gotta say the C word, Allison, sorry." And she was such a collaborator with all of our cast. It's, when we'd be doing a scene. In fact, there's a scene in the film when they're in a diner and they're going on their first date. And Margot and Sebastian are doing their side of the scene. And unsolicited, off camera, Allison says, "So you two guys fuck yet?" And we got that reaction from Margot and Sebastian, which was just phenomenal. We had to turn around and then shoot that side of Allison because we'd already shot her side. She amazed me constantly. I mean, she sort of brought so much to this role. On the page, it's a very tough role. It's really heinous, some of the things that she has to do and deal with, and somehow she manages to find humanity in that, which was amazing to watch her. And it was such a gift as a director to just literally be behind the camera and witness that. It's like we would have these scenes that was so tough, and still you could sort of appreciate the pain, like in the simplest of scenes where she's being really vile to her at 15 and talking about how she can see the bruises on her face and makes her kiss her at the end. You can still see that conflict that she has underneath and the pain that's under there, where she's doing these things that she really probably doesn't want to do. And that scene you just saw in the diner, which again, she's walking this incredibly tough line, I think, for a performer, that to be having to spew that dialogue and still feel vulnerable or feel that pain that makes us empathize a little bit with the character or just understand her a little more. And that dance, and then the dance also that she can do with humor and drama at the same time, that she can jump between the two effortlessly without sacrificing the character and without sacrificing, the story. So it was just such a joy to be able to be around that and work with her on that. And for that reason, I'd like to present her with the Performer of the Year at the Santa Barbara Festival.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I have to say, Craig was the perfect director for this movie. I only do as well as my director allows me to be, and he allowed me to soar and do the things that he encouraged me to go further and to trust myself, and his unbelievable spirit and sense of humor through all this guided all of us through this unbelievable journey. It was so fast-paced, and he was our fearless leader. And I thank you, Craig, and Margot, of course, my brilliant, my co-star, my performer of the year, girl. I love you, and I obviously we're getting this together, but thank you for being an extraordinary scene partner and a producer, and allowing me to be part of this journey with you. And Scott, thank you for being such an incredible moderator tonight. That was so fun to have. And to Roger Durling for your incredible support of this movie. Thank you, and all everyone here at Santa Barbara Film Festival, all the volunteers. Thank you for all of and all the entire community here. I know you all have been through so much in the past month, and thank you for inviting us here tonight. And our hearts are with you while you rebuild and grow. And this is the most beautiful community, and I'm happy to be invited here tonight. Thank you.
We have, that was very nice, Allison. Thank you, Scott, as well. He did a lovely job. We have one more, Margot. I was so lucky to actually meet Margot as a producer on this first. I had an interview with her, and we had an amazing conversation, which she sort of touched on, and talking about everything. And then I got to work with her as a producer on this film, which was the amazing thing, with her as a producer. She has such a clarity and a focus, which when you're doing a film, basically you're just putting out problems every day. And so there's this constant, everybody's bombarding you with issues and concerns. And Margot had this amazing sense of being able to just cut right to the core of the problem and just answer the question and move on. And, having somebody in that position of authority that could, have your back that way is amazing luxury for me. And it really let me sort of like run with it and sail with it. And she was fearless with that. And that was I felt like having that support really meant a lot to me. And then on top of that, she then had to act in the film, and she's in probably like 95% of the movie, 9 to 10 scenes a day. And I actually didn't appreciate the enormity of what she had taken on until she came on the set the first day as Tanya Harding with all the prosthetics, and we actually shot some of that interview scene. And she sat down, and I knew it was going to be a tall order, but immediately started with the body language, that she'd studied with Tanya, and she'd worked with a physical coach with that, and then she had the dialect, and then she was like being spontaneous. And the next day we were doing the skating, and it was 5 months of training to learn how to ice skate like somebody that's been on the ice for 20 years. And the amount of work and focus was astounding. And then on top of that, to be able to be spontaneous with it, like all of our actors, we had such a great group that were all so well prepared, and they would just throw stuff at each other in terms of being spontaneous, and they could all go with it and stay in character, which was, just an amazing gift for me as the director to be able to sit there and sort of take some kudos for that when these guys are giving me all these pearls. And there was a couple of moments that sort of I really wanted to point out. One was that scene that you just saw of her, that 45-second scene, and it was late in the production. And there was a lot of collaboration on the set, which I just love. Everybody's sort of always throwing out ideas. And that day was a particularly crazy day. We did, I think, 10 scenes, and we actually broke it down. That was actually our craziest day of the shoot. And we did a setup. We lit and shot a setup every 20 minutes that day. And in the midst of all that craziness, my DP came over to me and he goes, "Hey, before you move on from this scene, why don't you ask Margot if she could try and smile and get her game face on for the event?" And I just ran over to Margot. I'm like, "Do you want to try that?" And she's like, "Yeah, let's do it." Rolled camera, and we did one take. And that's the take right there. And it just embodies, I feel like it just embodies Margot's spirit and her can-do attitude, that there was nothing you couldn't throw at her, nothing that she couldn't deliver on. It's like you almost took it for granted because she was so in control of her craft. And at that point, to be like dialed into the character that way and be able to deliver a performance like that and make it look effortless, it would give me chills, honestly. So I would like to present tonight for our Performer of the Year, Margot Robbie.
Thank you. I feel ridiculously spoiled getting something like this, or even having this many people in a room to want to hear about my career. Or, I know you're all here for Allison anyway, I would be too, but I'm grateful to be in such good company. I'm very grateful, Scott, that we have you, and you've supported our film, and I appreciate that so much. And Craig, obviously, I always say how much I love you, but I do, and Allison the same. You're an inspiration. I've been quoting Allison Janney lines since I was like in high school. I am amazed we didn't talk about 10 Things I Hate About You tonight, because it's my favorite Allison Janney performance, second to Tonya only. I'll reenact it for you later, Allison, my favorite moments. But honestly, I'm grateful to be here in Santa Barbara, and you guys have had a really tough time lately, and to see that there's still such passion and enthusiasm, especially for film, it means the world to receive something like this here, where you know this community is, you know, real cinephiles and support the community so much, the film industry. I feel very, very honoured, and to Roger Durling, thank you very much. And more than anything, I'm very lucky I get to tell stories for a living, and if our story for a few minutes made you forget your world or made you look at the world differently, then I think we did our job, and I'm happy to be a part of that.